welcome to a fantastic episode of the Gaming Hall of Rivalries. I am your host, Jeremy Evans, along with me, Curtis Scism.
Hello.
And we are here to tell you more about two iconic characters that rival each other, not in battle, but in the gaming industry. What did they do? What makes them so special? How they influence the industry? And what are the future of these characters? So this episode is definitely a special episode. This was the episode that was created by my co-host Curtis Scism. He wanted to do an episode like this, and we wanted to bring it in. This episode I definitely wanted to do kind of later in the ladder of our iconic characters because it give us more time to do a little bit more research and figure out the format for all that kind of stuff. Curtis made up some good points about these two characters, how they're the only two couples in this category of in the genre of gaming, and
they paired up well.
Yeah, it's basically good chemistry, good partnership, good mentor student per se, but not. It's more of like, stick together or we're gonna die, the kind of thing. And another thing too is that you end up walking away caring so much about these characters, so much that you're hoping for the best of what their next voyage is going to go. And these two characters are Lee and Clementine from The Walking Dead and Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us. Two games that have the same partnership style, but totally two different complete games, right?
Yes.
And I believe Walking Dead came out first and then Last of Us came later. But like I said, they were totally two different games. So what did they have in common? Well, it's basically an adult meeting a random child in this post-apocalypse or zombified world, and they have to stick together to survive and figure out how they're going to survive and what's their next step.
What's their next move? Yeah.
Yeah, and so the interesting on this episode we're going to do is, since it's a couple, we decided to kind of split it up, but not in a way you think. Most of the time on our show, we have one character in the first half and another character in the second half, but this time we're going to do that a little bit different. We're going to talk about the older men. That's Joel and Lee. We're going to talk about them in the first half. And then we're going to be talking about Clementine and Ellie in the part two because, spoiler, by the way, this is a huge spoiler episode.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of spoils and everything like that. But Clementine and Ellie are the ones that continue on with this story, and you'll find out why. And so when I played these two games, what caught me off guard with Walking Dead was I never played episodic episodes. Like, I never played a game like that.
So this was your first rodeo on Telltale.
Yeah. And because I never had a PC at the time, and most of their Telltale games, like Back to the Future, all those games were mostly PC. So I never got a chance to be on that train. Walking Dead was actually, I was convinced to play it by my friend Nam. He told me to play it. It's a really good game, and I got it on the sale. But I was one of those people where, like, I don't want to play episode and then wait a couple of months. It's like, I'll wait for the whole thing to be done and play it. And I think that's way better than doing it episode by episode. Because I think also, too, like, you easily forget what happened. And so, compared to Last of Us. But, like I said, it's episodic, and that was a little bit different for me. And then Last of Us was different because I never played a game where you had an AI that felt like it had a mind of its own. And that was so crazy at the time because we've seen that in Resident Evil 4 where, your AI... Well, actually, let me take that back. You and an AI partner has always been around. It's just your AI partner was not really intelligent.
The most dreaded words. 2 words for most video gamers. Escort missions.
Yeah, exactly. And nothing was more annoying of you just babysitting. And... your character's not smart enough to like move around its own, get out of the way. Basically, your character only moves when you want to move. And we've seen this way back in like the old Resident Evil games where you partner up with somebody and they just they run. If you give them a gun, yeah, they'll shoot. They only shoot when you want to shoot, and all that stuff. But that changed, of course, in Resident Evil 4, where you had to babysit a girl named Ashley, and yet she was still an escort, but she was smarter. You told her to go hide. You told her to, when you aim your gun at her and an enemy come up, she ducks, So we saw that going
evolution.
We saw the evolution of
like Elizabeth from BioShock.
Yeah. So we're seeing more of these characters giving them their own minds and make their own decisions and speak their own minds about certain situations, right? So when we played with Joel and Ellie, Ellie not only had her own set of opinions, but like she would help you out of a jam if you're in trouble, or she just basically, so far, other than her and Elizabeth, are the smartest AI partners you probably ever play with in a video game. So Lee and Joel. So I'll go off with Lee first. Because since it's episodic, in the series of the Walking Dead video games, of course, Lee doesn't really stay in the series for very long, so his list is a little shorter compared to Joel. I think Joel is the same way, but Joel had a little bit more development, I guess you would say. So for people that don't know, Lee is a convict, and actually he was on his way to go to prison from Atlanta. And the reason why is because he found his wife cheating on him with the state senator, and Lee was enraged because apparently his wife, I guess, she travels a lot, so that's probably why, for the reason. And also too, he was a history teacher. He was a professor at University of Georgia, but beside all of that, he got enraged. He killed him, and I believe he turned himself in.
Yes.
And so he, of course, short on the list, he's on his way. A zombie outrage was on an outbreak, and they weren't aware of it because they were just driving. They were driving away, heading to the prison. Stuff backfired. They hit a dead body. What they thought it was dead, but a zombie. He ends up escaping. A cop died. Ends up in a random neighborhood, runs into a little girl named Clementine that was stuck in her house because her babysitter got killed by a zombie.
Her babysitter turned.
Her babysitter turned into a zombie.
Yeah,
they had to kill it
because
her parents are actually gone away to Savannah. And
yes.
So from there is basically them on this voyage. Now, what's interesting about Lee is you make him interesting, right?
Yeah.
So in this story, it's basically on your choices. So for this, I want to do this in a different way. I want to describe the way I made Lee. Okay?
All right.
Okay. And Curtis, if you want to, you're more welcome to talk about how you made your Lee.
Okay.
Because I think anybody that went the good way, they'll have, this is the way I did Lee. If you did the bad way, this is Lee. I was the middle of it. When I played those games, I really play it as if it was me there.
If it was you there.
Yeah, not so much of, I'm just going to pick what I think is the best answer to make him
most
good.
Optimal, yeah.
Yeah, because to me, I think I get a little bored with that, only if if there's a surprise at the end and I'm curious about it, that's me going through a second run. Okay, I'll do all good to see what that ending is. But I really want to see what ending I would have got if it was me doing this.
Yeah.
So that makes it more rewarding for me. So I was really neutral. I'm not going to lie. There is people I did kill on the way. And there were some people that I did save based on if they were useful in some sort of way. For instance, I think it was a convenience store in episode 2, where you finally meet the whole staff of who you think is going to live or die. There was a scene where there was this nervous nerd kid and this girl that was a reporter, and she actually knew some information about Lee, but only her and Lee were the only ones. I'm sorry, I don't know the names, but it's a small cast. I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about, listeners. And so, I chose her only because she knows how to use a gun.
Yep.
That's it.
Same here.
Yeah. No granted to the big guy, but at the same time, I don't know why you were at that window. That was a bad decision. I know you're a lookout, but you should have been smarter. Even though he was kind of helping me be a lookout, I was still doing all the work. So I picked her because she had the gun. And sadly, she got the worst end of the stick, no matter what. And, some of these games in The Walking Dead, there is choices in this game. No matter what you pick, this character is going to probably die at this point of the game. No matter what you do, it's just more of what can they do till then, right? And so from further on, where in chapter 3, when they were in the farm, I decided to actually kill the guy that just... The big guy that just disrespect me from the convenience store.
When he started turning.
Yeah. Well, first of all, at the end of that, he actually knocked me out to leave me behind when everybody was escaping. And right there, I was like, when I get an opportunity, I'm going to get you. And it was the perfect moment when he got zombified. When you were stuck in that room, it was you, Kenny, No, it wasn't Kenny. It was
Kenny.
It was Kenny?
It was
okay,
Kenny.
I thought it was the daughter.
When you get trapped with the cannibals.
Okay.
Yep.
So the big guy, he ended up turning, and I grabbed that radiator and I smashed his face in. I did it. It was a good reason. I'm glad I did it. I have no regrets of that decision. You know, it was a win-win for me. So right now it makes it sound like I'm making Lee this total bad guy. That's not true. Because the whole time when I had to talk to Clementine, I straight up told her everything I have done.
Yeah.
Like, I told her I have killed somebody. And I told her, and I tried to comfort her too, like, hey, everything's going to be okay. All this stuff. And, you know, Clementine actually took it really well. And it was funny too, because like, I felt like I was afraid to tell her this stuff. I was like, I was fearing, because she always had that look. She always gave you that look like, did you do this and this and this? And I was like, oh crap. I was like, man, why am I a dad in this situation? Like, I'm a terrible dad already, right? Right. So you know, but you know, being honest was probably the best way, because this world is messed up. So why sugarcoat it? So I just kind of straight told her stuff. But there is people I did help, even though I've made some bad decisions. I'm like, I don't know why I saved you, but maybe you might be useful later on. Did I leave that one college kid at the bell tower? Yes, I did leave that guy at the bell tower. Yes, that guy was useless because he kept messing up. Yeah. He kept messing up. Like, I'm a 3-strike person. So 3 strikes, you're out.
You're a liability,
He was just not getting it. And so, but like I said, I save a bunch of people. But in this game, you are developing a lot with Clementine, because you're trying to get her ready for her continued voyage. So you're teaching her how to use a gun. You're telling her to cut her hair, because aliens, these monsters can easily grab your hair and zombify you, you know. And, you know, at the end, spoiler, like I said, is when you yourself turn.
Yeah.
You have to come to a decision of how you want to go out. And I think that's one of the most important scenes there, because I think right there is the decision of...
It culminates your relationship with...
Yeah, but at the same time, for me, it was more of, based on the decision I have, how should I be treated? And since I kill people with zombies, I should have her pull the trigger. I have her shoot me. And so, and that was a bit of a tearjerker. I almost teared up, but I didn't cry. Cause I was like, man, they really know how to just stab that knife in you. Like, but that was the reality of that world. It was more of, you got to do what you got to do. And there's no exception with me.
You have to kind of give Telltale credit, because especially sticking with the themes of The Walking Dead, is you have terrible decision, choice A, even worse effing terrible decision. Now choose. You've got 5 seconds right now.
Right, and that was the worst part. You have to choose.
So unapologetic about it.
Right, and I think, and it makes sense, because you need to. You're trying to be in that moment too. Like, if it was if you were in that world, you can't pause that world, right? You have to choose. Like, you're about to turn. She has the gun. These are your last words. What are you going to say to her? And that's what they do at the end. They tell you, like, what are the last few words of guidance you want to give to her to move on? And my guidance with her is, be careful, but be careful who you trust. And don't be afraid to down a person. I told her straight honest, like, if you have to be the bad guy, be the bad guy. But look out for yourself, because you come before anybody else. I don't care what it is. Okay? If you think about before you want to save someone's life, if that's important or not. And so, but through all this game, I made Lee seem like, to me, a guy that wants to help, but we have to make good decisions how we want to do it. Yeah. So, for example, like I said, like, if I want to save this person, I have to really think about, am I putting myself so much in danger? Is this worth it, I guess? Is it worth saving you? Or that's it. I guess that's the answer for me. It's just more of, is it worth saving you? Is it worth me putting myself on the line to save you? What can you do? Like Kenny puts a lot of work. He saved my life. Yeah, I'm going to save your life. Yeah. I'm going to help you the best I can, you know? But if you're a person that never pulled a gun, or you're hiding or stuff like that, and granted, I could be the same way if reality hit for me with that. But I understand, like, you got to do what you got to do. You know, you got to, if you're thrown into the wild, what are you going to do? Do you really want to survive, or you're scared and you're going to die? And that's just the way I look at it. Now, Curtis, what was your voyage with Lee, I guess? Because this is kind of interesting because you can tell people, well, I connect Lee too. So what was your voyage? How did you play with Lee?
Let's see. Very kind of hands-on with Clementine. I didn't want to do anything too messed up, like too traumatizing.
Okay.
My mentality is, well, this little girl's kind of depending on me. She's, God knows what happened to her parents.
Now, before I continue on, let me ask you this. Did you play this game as a father now, or did you play before you were a father?
As a father now.
Okay. Yep. For listeners, I'm playing this. I don't have kids. Yep. He's playing as a father. So I can probably understand your point of view of this. So continue on. Okay.
So, yeah, it was very sugar-coated through my playthrough.
Okay.
I did not kill the racist fat man.
Okay.
I did not. As a gamer too, it's just like.
So you roll with the punches.
But it's like, oh my gosh, I want to, but nope. Gotta set an example.
Okay.
On a second playthrough, though, that's the fun thing about this game is you can do second playthroughs. You can do all the choices you did not want to do.
Right. But let me ask you this: so your first time played, did you played it
as a straight arrow?
Yep. Okay, so you didn't play how you would do it.
What's funny is more of those choices were actually how I wanted to play it.
Okay.
So yes, I actually got to play. I've deviated a few times from the most optimal because sometimes I just wouldn't respond. There is a choice in this Telltale game where if you just don't push a button prompt, it just does ... pretty much.
Right. Like, for instance, like if you decide to rescue or let him die and you don't do nothing, the game will make up the mind for you.
Yep.
And so it could turn to a totally different thing. Like, you
could get asked the most blatant in-your-face question, and you can just, I'm not going to acknowledge that.
Right.
I'm just going to keep quiet.
Right. But that's basically... for you listeners out there, you're going to have definitely a different experience with Lee than anybody else. That's what makes, I guess, Lee so interesting is this is the first character where you get to shape him how you want him to be and how he leads his story to the next person to continue on. And so that's why The Walking Dead was such an interesting game. And I think that was the game that definitely set the platform for the rest of the Walking Dead games. And I think it influenced until Dawn. I think it influenced a little bit more with Detroit. I mean, Detroit, I know it has its own thing, but I think when it comes to harsh choices, I think harsh choices came into that decision.
Yeah, as someone who played through Detroit, what's really fun about these, I'm going to say malleable characters, where their choices are your choices. It is very funny hearing an actor talk about their character is because there's so much to talk about. Well, Brian Deckard, who plays Connor from Detroit, it's funny seeing his expression of like, well, what do you think about your character? He's like, well, that's hard to, he even says it's hard to talk about because it can go so many directions.
Right.
Your Lee that you play in The Walking Dead is your character. And what's neat about Lee is I think he's very inspirational because I played him as that good guy. I played him as that shining example of humanity. Mm-hmm. I like to think as Lee as an upstanding citizen who just lost his sanity for a split second. Mm-hmm. I think underneath he's a good guy.
Right. And I think too, a lot of people probably maybe missed it, but Walking Dead does a good job of showing you characters, the scenarios if you decide to go that route. For instance, like if you decide to be a bad person, there is a character in there that acts like a bad person, so he can be that person that can influence you. I think the big guy was a terrible person to me. Mm-hmm. And so that maybe influenced me to be maybe terrible same way back. So like the character you want to be, just remember one of the cast members in that show, in that set, is probably already that kind of character, so you can kind of already see what it looks like. If you want a guy that's super upgoing, there's someone out there for that in that cast. But to me, I guess my choice I have to relate, I think it was Kenny. I think the way I acted was Kenny, because Kenny was the character that, he lost his son in the very beginning.
Yep.
So like him, like that's already a thing he lost. Then he lost his wife, you know? So like now all he has is this group. This is his family now, and it's now he's trying to hold on because he knows if he loses anybody, especially Clementine, which we'll talk about later, that's it. Like, he lost it. So that's what's so interesting about it. Now, let's go into the other father figure in some sort of way. A person that lost a child also, I believe, in the making of this, and his name is Joel. So take us away, Curtis.
So Joel, in the beginning of the game, he's probably mid-30s. He has a teenage daughter named Sarah, and the beginning of the game starts out with the breakout, and he calls his brother Tommy. Tommy comes over, play as Sarah temporarily, go wandering around like, hey, where's my dad? And she has no idea all hell has broken loose at all. And Tommy comes over. He's like, she sees her dad shoot the neighbor, and he's like, something's wrong with the neighbor. And well, after escaping, getting in the truck, they get in a car wreck. All hell has gone loose in Austin, Texas. And there is a quarantine by the military. Absolute zero tolerance. They get separated from Tommy. So poor Joe, he has... I cannot even imagine that setting of not knowing what's going to be tomorrow. Where's my brother? And my little girl's hurt. And you finally get outside of Austin, and you run into this soldier, and you're just like pleading like, hey, we're not infected, and there's nothing wrong with us. And the guy's like, even the soldier's like, sir, that's... Oh, okay, orders are orders. Raises up the gun, fires off the two rounds, and you get hit, and it's just like, oh my god. Tommy comes in at the last second, saves him, but Sarah's been hit, and she bleeds out from the I can't even talk about that scene without tearing up.
Right.
It is so well acted. I want to take a note on the voice cast. Is a very competent voice cast. Troy Baker, who voices Joel
in every other video game.
In every other video game. Some of his most notable roles, the anime roles, he was Gene Carrier from Bleach. He was a filler arc villain. He was Captain Yamato from Naruto Shippuden, as well as he voiced one of the Pains. Video game realm, besides Jeremy's joke, some of his prominent roles. From Final Fantasy 13, he was Snow Villiers. He was the Arkham Knight from Arkham Knight, and most recently he was Sam Drake from Uncharted 4.
Okay.
So very well very well acted. So if you played after the opening scene, there was about 20-year time skip. And you 20 to 30 year time skip. Next time you meet Joe, he's in his very, very late 40s. And you can just tell this guy has lived the life of whatever I needed to do to survive. And the loss of his daughter at the beginning of the game on his birthday, the day that she died, she gave him a watch. He still wears that watch, and I think symbolically the watch is broken. It doesn't work anymore, and it's just that physical metaphor of time stopped for this dude. There's just a part of his eye that can, all life ended back then, and then he's this whole other Joel.
And then on top of that, I think the obvious one is the last thing that he has that's hers.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's on
and,
top of that.
He gets burdened with the task to take Ellie. Ellie is this girl. She is completely immune to the outbreak. And the outbreak is caused by cordyceps, which is a real life thing. Look it up. It infects mostly ants right now, but it is a fungus. They actually climb up, and I'll leave it to a documentary on YouTube that went really in depth about the real life aspiration for the Last of Us virus. Joe, and I'll get into motion capture. Motion capture just really isn't a gimmick. It's not something gimmicky that used by certain studios. I think it really tells a story. When you look at Joel and the real life actor Troy Baker, he's about 6'3". And when Joe grabs a guy, an NPC, an enemy, it's like getting mauled by a bear. He is brutal. He is efficient. The hits, it's just so much pain. You feel this man's desperation of
Right.
like, there's two of us in this room and I'm walking out.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, he gets burdened with taking Ellie to Colorado, to the Fireflies, which is the Resistance, and they're wanting to extract a cure from Ellie. Joe's knee-jerk reaction, especially as a father of, if you've ever had, I cannot even fathom losing a child.
Right.
And Joe's knee-jerk reaction is absolutely hell no. I'm not, no. And in his head, he's like, I can't do this again. I can't live through this again. I barely am holding it together by a string right now. And he has a partner named Tess, and she agrees and drags Joel into escorting this kid to the Fireflies base. And Tess gets killed. And you have this very awkward but very heartwarming bond. It is very hard to talk about. Very, very emotional bond between. What did you think of that bond?
It was very, like, it's funny too, because I think it's mostly in every when it comes to any group, any two people have to be together, it's mostly like you can feel a little bit of hatred, but when when stuff hits the fan really hard, it's time to come together. Because I think it's funny. It's funny because I know how this is, and it's kind of like it's kind of like being professional at a job where like you and a buddy can have this big argument, but when customers come in, it's time to get focused.
You solidify.
And we're a team here. We still disagree with stuff, but when it comes to work, we're doing this. And I feel that's what I feel about this group is like you guys are not getting along, but when a zombie comes, it's time to work together and take the zombie down or run. Okay, survival time. No time for arguments. Let's work there and get through this. Then we can get back to what we're doing. And that's what we got from here. Not so much in Walking Dead, but in this one, that's what we felt. And
you felt a very paternal instinct to protect Ellie.
Right. And you also feel that in most games I hope games start doing more of that, but let's make these characters feel like they're learning from each other.
And what was so neat about it is the writing. They both felt very real, very alive. Ellie grew up in this world. She was actually born post the fall of man.
Exactly.
And she will make the funniest comments of, "What's this? Whoa, people did that?"
Yeah.
I had no idea. Like, and Job, of course, predating her. It's just funny hearing these things because you're playing from Joe's point of view. Like, oh, I know what that is. Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. She doesn't know what that is.
Because it makes it interesting that this is all conversation going on mid-game. Like, they're just you can be running around, and then the conversation will just break out them talking. So that was what made it so interesting about it. But anyways, go on.
Going into gameplay, it's a stealth action adventure game. Think of an Uncharted game, but it took very slow. Not so much the fast action pieces. And the setting was very beautiful. That's really morbid to sound, like this fallen city being beautiful, overtaken by nature, but you have to really appreciate the game design, the level design. It actually is kind of very artistic, in my opinion. Sound design, very visceral, very real, very glass breaking, bottle breaking, things just this creaking and stuff. It set a wonderful atmosphere. Hitting people, there was weight behind Joel's hits, man.
Right.
I'm gonna quote Angry Joe from his game review, but it's like slapping meat, like that fist just hitting skin, like that kind of fleshy sound. And you just felt it like that. I mean, during my playthroughs, there were just some hits like, oh my god.
Yeah, and like it made the game feel like every move you make mattered. Yeah, that's basically what the goal was. That game was like while you're hiding, the next decision you make is very important. You can't just run up there and you make a mistake and then you think you can get out of it. It's tough, but you really want to really think about the decision because you have an AI with you.
You have an AI,
and so whatever you do, she's going to try to react to that. So depending what you do, they're very important.
Quickly into Ellie's AI. she is by far, if not one of the most competent AIs I've had the joy of playing with.
And we'll talk about more her on the second half.
But an example of that, let's say a guy gets up behind Joe, puts you in a full Nelson. She jumps on the guy's back, and she will stab him, to get him off. She will throw a brick at someone.
Right.
And Ellie's point of view is like, if this guy goes down, I am friggin' dead.
Right. Well, hang on. Now, save that for the second half.
Yep.
Hang on.
Yep.
Stick with Joel for a minute.
Stick with Joel.
Stick with Joel. Stick with Joel. I haven't even got to my Clementine. So stick with Joel real quick.
Sticking with Joel, going back to his bond, it is very beautiful seeing that bond build between him and Ellie. It goes from not giving a shit to, okay, I've got to do this. And
you have to be that role model.
You've got to be that role model. And one of the most, I will say it is my favorite scene. Ellie runs away because Joe is trying to get Tommy to take her the rest of the way. And it's the same justification of, I cannot do this. If anything happened to her, I would lose my sanity.
Right.
And from Ellie's point of view, she runs off. She is pissed. And, so many people, everyone in Ellie's life has died, been infected, or lost to her. And Joel, as horrible of a role model as he is the first person she's ever felt safe around.
Right.
And she shoves him, too, and she even confronts him like, Joe, I know you had a daughter, but I'm not your daughter. I need you. And it's this beautiful scene, and Joe's like, you're absolutely right, you are not my daughter. It's just like, oh my god, grab the tear boxes.
But also too, I think the key word is abandonment. Being abandoned just sucks. I don't even to me it's not about like how deep it is. It's just more of, you're on this voyage again, you guys are sticking it together, and then someone drops you off. It's kind of like if you and your kids are surviving, but you want to make the right decision. Like, I cannot, I don't know if I can keep going. I need someone to take these kids in until I can get better.
Yep.
The moment you just tell them that we're going to be separate for a while, we'll just break them down in a second. Just that word abandon. That's their mindset. Not so much of looking at the greater cause of it. Like, look, I'm not leaving you forever. I just need to put you somewhere safe because I'm not guaranteed to protect you for very long. But they're looking at it as like, you're leaving me. You're not coming back. And you're just making up words. You don't want me anymore.
I love, I wish there was more time with Tommy, the brother. There was obviously a huge falling out between him and Joel. And this is my interpretation of it. Tommy did not like the men that Joe became to have to survive.
Right, because, they never discussed what happened all those 20 years.
They did not discuss that. There was because they were obviously really close before the breakout, and it's just one of those things of, my God, I can't even deal with what you've had to do. I think
my theory is that he was just in that world. Like you said, it's like it's all like survival, know? But I think it was more of like, I have nothing to hold on. I don't care anymore. And that's where I think it went. I think I don't care more. I don't care about my family anymore. I lost somebody that's really important to me. I think you're going to lose too. I think you're going to die soon. I don't want to be near you. That could be the reason. I don't want to be near anybody because you're probably going to die.
I almost make Joe the equivalent, not as bad, but the equivalent to the governor from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Or like a Negan, but not to those extremes. There's just some things Joe would not do.
Yeah.
Wrapping up on Joe, at the end of the game, he finally gets her to the Firefly base, and they can extract the cure, but they need to cut Ellie's head open and extract her brain. So it's pretty much sacrificing her.
Right.
And it's all culminated to Joe's like, F the world, no, I am saving Ellie.
Right.
And he actually takes her from out of surgery, and before surgery starts, shoots the Firefly leader, and Ellie wakes up, and Joe's like, "Oh yeah, you're not needed anymore. They found someone else who's gonna donate, and there's others like you who are immune to the virus," and just straight up lies to her. You're walking up this beautiful hill at the end of the game, and she asks you point blank, like, "Is everything you're told me true?" And just Joel was like, "Yes, I did not lie to you." And the game just end credits there.
I think too, and I think I would do it. I think anybody would do this, but I think someone would not sacrifice somebody for a greater cause.
For the greater cause.
I
agree.
I know. And it's so weird, right? It's the fact that, like, look, you can save 1,000 people right now by sacrificing this person. And we all in that reality, like, no, because I don't want to be a responsibility for bringing someone to lose a life.
Yep.
Like, if I never met her and you did that thing, then that'd be a different story. But the fact that I went on this voyage with this person for so long, as a father, as a mentor, as someone that had to take care of this person, I couldn't let you do it, because the goal was the bond. The bond was there, and I cannot. I'm sorry. And it makes you sound bad too. Like, I'm letting 1,000 people die to let this one person live. But the fact is, we shouldn't be in that situation where we have to kill somebody to save people, right? And so that's what made Joel so an awesome character, and that's where him and Lee work really together, because
where they work with their
baby against the world.
Where they work with their partner is, Clementine completed Lee. And vice versa.
Yeah,
I think Ellie definitely filled a void in Joe, and like what I was and I'll ramble more about Ellie. But her point was like, I feel safe. This is the first time I have not had to worry about Joe keeling over, because he's a friggin' wrecking ball.
Exactly. So let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the two characters that carry on the story, and talk about what they have done that was remarkable. And we'll talk about if there is a future for these characters, or maybe there's not. We'll be right back. Hey, this is Jeremy Evans, the man behind the In-Game Boss program, a network of gaming and other variety shows. But did you know I do my own show? Yeah, it's the In-Game Boss podcast, a show where I challenge not only you, but myself on fun subjects in the gaming culture with fun guests. So come by and be challenged. Hey listeners, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm your host, Jeremy Evans, aka your In-Game Boss, and I want to let you know that this is not the only show you can listen to. We got great shows like the In-Game Boss Podcast, the Gaming Hall of Rivalries, Bond Never Dies, and Area 44, and more to come. So if you enjoyed this show, make sure you follow and subscribe to the network so you're always updated with the newest episodes and update on any other news that happens in the In-Game Boss program. So, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the show. And welcome back to part 2 of the show. I'm your host, Jeremy Evans, along with Scism. And you just heard the first half of Lee and Joel. This episode is actually, I think, honestly, this might be our longest episode, because there's just, 4 characters.
There's so much, too.
Yeah, and there's just so much character development, not just as the couple together, but even separately. Because as we go further on the story, Lee and Joel are now left behind. And what they do is, and at the end of each game, they both leave special information,
wisdom,
and stuff for them to continue on their voyage, to take lessons, basically. And you have to remember, these are the characters that actually, taught these characters how to shoot, how to survive, how to make good decisions, how to look out for bandits.
They were like the Miyagi's,
basically. And if you join another group, be careful who you can trust and not trust, because you never know when it comes to survival mode who's important and not important. So for Lee, like I said, for my decisions I made, I told her, be careful, make good decisions, but do what you got to do. So I carried that over to season 2 with Clementine. That's where I stopped at. I haven't played the New Frontier, and I haven't played the finale, which, as we speak, the finale is like on episode 2. So that series is not even over yet. And so, but what I brought to Clementine was the same thing. I did mostly the same decisions of her doing stuff. I was actually a little more lenient with her. I tried to get her, in my opinion, more good decisions. Because now I look at the game of, I'm still Lee, but now I'm trying to be more of her spirit of, okay, make these. I think this is the decision you should make, more than like if I was Clementine this time. Because I feel I have this mentality of like, look, I'm this guy. now I want to be this person that just see what would she do, because like she'll have flashbacks or she'll have some memory, like she's talking to Lee in season 2.
Yeah.
Like she'll get hurt or she's abandoned, and then Lee will show up and she'll pretend that he's there.
Oh, he's still there. That's cool.
Yeah, so she will have this conversation with Lee about what she thinks she can do, because you have to realize that season 2 kind of goes off maybe like a couple months. A couple months after the first one, so it's still fresh to her, and she's still trying to slowly realize that Lee is gone, and going through this story of the second one, of course, in most Walking Dead games, you end up being with another group, more drama, more life decisions. And so as you're going through season 2, you're meeting more interesting characters, and there's one character that actually I stuck with and gave this person a chance. I thought, okay, maybe if I can make you grow, maybe good. And it's this little girl. She was stuck in a trailer, all these zombies, and she was afraid, and we were trying to get her out, but she was afraid to move. She couldn't move. And I was at that point where I was like, I'm just going to leave her because she's not listening. But I was like, okay, I'm going to force her. So like one of my speeches was, I totally just blatantly just told her, like, if you don't get your ass up, I'm going to kill you. So she like gets up and she finally like leaves and stuff. But the goal for me was to get Clementine to, maybe if you toughen her up like the way I did with Clementine, maybe you'll do this. But she didn't do it. So there was a part where there was a decision where she ended up falling off. It was her and another blonde girl. This blonde girl has pulled her weight, but for some reason she can't be trusted. But this little girl fell down in this thing, and she was with us for a while. So she could have learned something, but she was down here. Zombies were attacking her, and I had the other girl hanging. So I had to choose, like, do I get the girl that no one trusts is hanging, or get the little girl down there that is being swarmed by zombies? I picked the girl that was hanging, because the fact that I've not even seen you trying to move, you're sitting there so frightened, it's more like, you're just extra baggage. I'm sorry, but you can get me killed if you had to. So I had to make a decision. I know it was not a good decision, probably to a lot of listeners. Maybe people did pick it. Because the funny part about these games is that at the end, you get a percentage of how many people picked your way. And it feels bad if you're in the small category. You're like, oh, okay. I would think everybody would do what I did, So I helped her out. But to wrap it all up, there was a decision at the end where we were in the middle of the voyage. We found a kid, and the reason why I found this kid, because one of the characters during a shootout, because the difference in this one is too, you're not dealing with zombies this time, you're dealing with actually other people that are going to kill to survive, and you actually do get kidnapped, and you end up joining a cult organization that are there to help you, but you have to work. You're basically slave workers to these people. And after you manage to escape and all this stuff, there was a shootout apart, but one of the character ended up having a baby mid-battle, and she died. And so you have to take care of this baby, carrying on, and there was a decision to make, right, what should we do with the baby? Should we abandon the baby? Should we keep the baby? Whatever. And your two main characters that were my main focus was this blonde girl that I saved, and Kenny. Kenny was still there. And Kenny was on his last leg. This guy, he lost an eye. He has gone through the works.
Yeah.
But Kenny was the only other father figure that I had that can continue on. And so, and by the way, at the beginning, you don't really run into Kenny until later on. So just FYI on that. So you don't know what happens in between. I think didn't Kenny and Lee, they all got separate in their own ways. Yes. Yeah, that's right. They all got separate in their own ways. So luckily, Clementine found Kenny again. And so when you find a character when you haven't seen in a long time, you want to hold attached to that. Like, yeah, you're alive. I don't want to I want to make sure that we don't leave again. I want to stay together. So that's how I felt. So it was a hard decision at the end where the blonde girl wanted to abandon the baby. And Kenny was like, no, I want to keep the baby. And so, but they both came towards an end where they were both getting vicious, not turning to zombie, but they were becoming savages where, like, I don't know what's going to happen. And they almost have a shootout. They almost basically have a shootout towards the end. So I had to come to a decision what I had to do for this character. And at the end, I took the baby and went my own way. Yep. So you had a choice. You had a choice to either go with the blonde girl, go with Kenny, or go your own way. I went my own way. And one of the remarkable scenes at the very end is there's a field of zombies, and I had to walk through it. So I grabbed some blood, zombie blood. I wiped it over Clementine's face and the baby, and we walked right through it. And that was the finale of that series. But like the interesting part about Clementine is the way I wanted to make Clementine was more of, you are the youngest, and you're probably, no offense, you are the weakest. So you have to be even stronger than the adults.
And smarter.
Yeah. So to me, the trust level was definitely a lot lower for people than as Lee. Because Lee to me was more like, I might not trust you, but I know I can hold my footing against you. But Clementine was more like, you're bigger than me. You could take a gun from me. Everybody got a gun, basically. You know, I can get swarmed very easily. So my trust level had to be a little bit more cautious. So, and the fact that at the end was more of like, if you guys can't even get along, then I don't need you. I'd rather just take this on my own, maybe find something else to do. Because they wanted to go two different directions. Now, funny thing is, Nam, he picked the decision to go with the blonde, and he ended up finding out the kid wasn't dead. She lied about it to see if Kenny would flip, just to prove a point like you shouldn't trust Kenny. And that's basically what the premise of those two characters, they were trying to try so hard to prove to Clementine you shouldn't trust one or the other. And that's where I just like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
I'm taking the baby. I'm going on my own. And so, but Clementine to me was so cool in that game because she was the most believable character in that game for me. Compared to Ellie in her situation, but Clementine was more of, even though I made the decisions, her dialogue was more believable of the decisions I made. Like, those are the words I would probably say out of my mouth if I was her. And the fact that some scenarios of her getting out of situations were awesome. There was even one part where you were getting swarmed by zombies, and I'll wrap this up. You were getting swarmed by zombies, and this person was left behind, and I decided, like, do I want to save her? And yeah, I did. And she was getting bitten. She was getting bitten on the arm by zombies. I grabbed my axe and I chopped the arm off and pulled her with me. And granted that I got yelled at like out of the blue, and everybody was pissed at me, like, you cut her arm off. I'm like, she's alive, isn't she? Like, you know, like, what do you want from me? Like, I think you've been more pissed if I left her dead.
Yeah.
Anytime I have an opportunity, I will do the best I can. But at the same time, like I said, is this worth putting my life on the line for this person? Well, I gave it a chance. This is what it is. If you guys can't understand that, then guess what? I won't save her again. And so, you stopped at season 1, so you never really got to continue on with this. But based on my story, I'm pretty sure, I don't know what you would do in that situation as if you were little, or if you were playing her spirit guide. What do you think you would have done? Would you still be very helpful, or will you be more of, I don't know if I could trust everybody? Would you take the baby and just go, or would you still go with somebody?
I would go with somebody.
Okay.
Just the strength in numbers idea.
Okay.
But definitely with the baby too.
Okay. All right. So that's it for like Clementine. Now and I'll go ahead and talk about the future. The future of Clementine, there's no future. This is the end of the story. If there are more Walking Dead games, I don't know if she would be more of a side character later on, or special
season 3.
Yeah,
yeah. So she will be.
Yeah, but this is the final season that's out right now. So if they do a new series of The Walking Dead with brand new, she might be a bonus character on Walk By. She might be with a group that for a minute, and then she goes her merry way. I don't think she's going to be part of a main cast anymore.
Yeah,
I think this is her story, and she's done. And I think that's the future of her series, her story. So that's basically it for that series alone. But I hope they influence of, if they decide to do another adult and kid, I hope they do a little bit more of maybe more exciting moments for these characters. There were some exciting moments, but I want some more dangerous moments for Clementine. I don't think Clementine had a lot of dangerous moments in season 2 compared to Lee's decision in 1. So when I played New Frontier in last season, maybe that will change it around, because each season she's getting older.
Yeah.
She's becoming a teenager at the end, and the kid is getting older too.
Yeah.
He's a boy. He could talk now. So I'm excited to see how the final season will play out of, will she die at the end? And this boy will carry on. Will the boy be the future of this series?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but hopefully, when we go back and maybe do some video of this, maybe I'll play through it and maybe I'll put my final stamp on what I think the future of this series will be. So now on to Ellie. We'll see what's the future of Ellie and what her story goes. Go ahead, Courtesy.
Ellie appears in the game about 14 or 15. Going back to competent voice actors, she is voiced by Ashley Johnson. Ashley Johnson had a live action appearance in the Marvel Avengers movie. She was the blonde-headed waitress.
Okay.
Voice roles, what she's more prominent for is Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go. She is Tara.
Okay.
She has also took over the role of Gwen Tennyson after the time skip from Ben 10. Then there was Ben 10 Alien Force, Ultimate Alien.
Right.
Ellie, her gameplay for 90% of the game is the assist character. She's the escort, but competent as all get out. I mentioned it in part 1. If Joe gets grabbed, she will throw a brick at the guy. She will jump on the back of the guy. The funny story about the jumping on the back is when they were filming the motion capture, it was unscripted for her to do that.
Oh, okay.
So she actually jumps on the actor's back, pretending to stab him in the back. Neil Druckmann, the director's like, what are you doing? And she justifies, I'm 14. Joe dies, and if I'm really there, I'm dead.
Right.
And Neil Druckmann kind of looks at Troy Baker. They both nod. Okay, we're gonna keep that in. We're gonna film this some. We're gonna film a few more sequences of that.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense.
Some more action. Some more animations to download for that. One of the biggest surprises, especially with the Naughty Dog press, constantly asked, "Will you play as Ellie? Will you play as Ellie?" Straight face in the camera. No, you will not play as Ellie. Midway through the game, Joe gets severely hurt. He gets skewered by a metal pillar, like a rebar. And it is as a gamer, as someone who's really invested in the story, it's, oh my god, what is gonna happen? I can't believe this is happening right now. And it's a time skip into the winter, because it is told in 4 seasons. There's actually fall, summer, winter, and summer. So it's in the dead of winter. You see Ellie. You play as Ellie. You hunt a deer. And it's just, oh my god, where's Joe? Did he die?
Right.
Did he really die? Did they really kill Joe?
It was an unexpected scene cut, like to the next scene. You're like, okay.
And it was such a mixed emotion, because this is really cool. You get to play as Ellie, and you get to do her own thing, but where's Joe? Right.
Like, I'm not satisfied until I see both of them together. What's going on?
And Ellie has a really cool arc, because she deals with David. David is one of the leading members of this community of cannibals. And this community of cannibals were actually at the university picking up supplies, and Joe, in self-defense, murdered these guys. And Dave's been tracking her and Joe. He's been looking to take revenge, kind of like Negan.
Right.
And Ellie bravely, I cannot believe the courage and the cojones on this 14-year-old girl to lure them away from Joe. Joel is incapable of fighting these guys.
Right. I think, too, because Joel had to do that, too. I think that's where the thing about the game is Ellie's learning from what Joel and her other past stuff. So it's surprising, but it's not surprising, right?
Yes. And it's such a testament of how strong-willed this character is and feisty. Joe and Ellie play really well off of each other. And there is all sorts of wonderful banter and back and forth. Like she'll listen to Joe, but she'll give her a piece of her mind too.
Right.
So she gets captured by David when she was trying to escape. She's locked in a cage. And one of the funniest scenes is, it's heavily implied that he's a pedophile. And he's like starts caressing Ellie, like, if you behave, we can get you out of this. And she bites his hand. And one of the funniest lines is Dave's like, what the hell? God damn it, like, what am I supposed to tell everyone? And Ellie's like, badass line is, you tell them this 14-year-old bitch just bit your hand and she's gonna murder you all. It's like, oh my god. Joe ends up rescuing Ellie. He makes his way to the community. But Ellie actually has a really cool boss fight in this tavern with Dave.
Right, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
She's using stealth. She's using the cover of darkness bottles.
Basically everything that like Joel does, right?
Yes. All the mechanics carried over to Ellie. In general, the again, hitting back on the relationship, that not only is the bond between like the quasi father-daughter relationship between them, but she learned things. She really took to notice and attention of what Joe did, staying stealthy, not getting into every single gunfight.
Right. Because I noticed too is this is the first game or one of the few games where anything you did, Ellie would do it with you. Like if you need to move something to the side, she would be there to help you move it to the side. If you need to reach something you can't reach, she would volunteer it. Not you don't press a button and force her up there. She says, "I got it. Let me go up there and grab it." So that's cool that they made the AI know you already know what you need to do something, and they go ahead and do it without you doing it. Because I think I don't get me wrong. Like I like the fact that like yes, I want to tell my character what to do on this point in that game, but at the same time, it's like, look, I want to get up there, but I can up there. Okay, thank you. And she just does it. So that's just really helpful.
Going back to the gameplay with Ellie, most of the game as you play as Joe, 3 guys in a room, you're probably gonna stealth around and take them out one by one. Or you feel confident of, I'm just gonna go in there, knock their blocks off with the crowbar.
Right.
Ellie, poor Ellie. The actress Ashley Johnson is 5'4", so I think that is a good relative height for her in-game character at 14. You're not a powerhouse,
right?
Your stealth is your best friend with Ellie, and it would completely change the gameplay of how you go about a situation. As Joe was like, okay, I'm gonna sneak around, stealth this guy. Last guy, I'm just gonna pound with my fist.
Right. And with
Ellie, it's like, I don't want to fight anyone.
Right.
At all.
It was funny too because like you can sometimes play a same level over again and you can definitely get a different outlook of it. Like you're mentioning one point, like she gets on someone's shoulder. If you died and you go back and play that game, she'll probably do something completely different this time around than the first time you did, based on the movement that you did. I think one of the most remarkable moments, and I remember seeing this, that was probably one of the best things to watch at E3 when that first premiere at E3 for the first time. It blew me away because there was one part, and it's funny too because like I get more fascinated by the little things than the big things. Like, okay, cool, the graphics look great, but like what else are you doing there? And one of my favorite parts is where Joel did something and he broke something. Like he threw a brick or something and we ran off, and then Ellie was like here and just she picked something on the way and then she throw it to your character.
Yeah,
and that just blew my mind. I'm like, holy crap, that's amazing. It's the littlest things. This is like, you knew I need something, and you make your own inventory, and you're going to hand it to me when you think I need it. Like, hey, I got something for you. Here you go. Because like you said, she doesn't want to fight, but she's going to try to help you out the best you can, right? So that's that was so remarkable for me at that time.
Yes. I'm very excited about the future of it. Playing as Ellie, as her older, she looks about 19, 18, I think they've quoted. So she's taller, she's more developed. I think she could definitely, by the E3 playable trailer, what they showed, she's very competent in physical combat. I still don't think she's never going to be as strong as Joel was, but man, is she brutal. Good God.
We're actually definitely seeing new mechanics where the character can do a lot more hiding styles than the last one. Like hiding under a car was a brand new feature that had never existed.
That was that was a remarkable.
Going in, but hiding or going between little things like in the store. I don't know if it was the bookstore or record store, but when she was running around in circles, she went in between bookcases and stuff like that. That has never been done before for that game. The new death and picking up weapons that she already used. Like, she like stabbed someone with an arrow, or she saw with an arrow, she picked up the arrow again and moved on. That has never been done before like that. But I'm more curious of who is going to be the next partner. Now, they showed by herself, but they did talk about she will have a new partner. So curiosity is who's going to be the new partner that's going to balance Ellie out. And is it going to be a twist of, is this partner going to survive? Or is he going to die this time?
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be Ellie dying. I think that's too obvious to me that Ellie will die and the next person will survive, because The Last of Us is dedicated more towards Ellie. So I think my future is she'll have another partner, but the partner's going to die this time.
Yep.
And this is going to change a different way for Ellie, as a way of like, okay, maybe I'm not really good at... I lost somebody that was trying to protect me. Now I lost somebody that I can't even protect. And I think that'd be just a good little twist to put into the game for me. I don't think it's the girl in the cutscene that that was square dancing with her. I don't think it's her. I think it's going to be somebody completely different. But we see that, one, she's out for revenge for a particular group. We talked.
Yep, that was the reveal trailer, I believe.
Yeah,
she was pissed.
Yeah, we do think that Joel will probably be imaginary, probably be the lead treatment, where she will go to Joel for advice in her head of what the decisions. Or sometimes when you're alone, you'll create an imaginary person, but that imaginary person is basically that person that's supposed to be your con to your pros approach, if that makes sense. And then on top of that, I think that she is with a group, but I think she's not going to be part of the group. I think she is like, I'm here as this is a home base, but when it's time for me to go, I'm going to head out. Yeah. And so that's my idea of what I think.
I gathered she has, from what I could tell from the trailer and just the dialogue, is she has a lot of freedom to come and go. Her and Joel do.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, too, it seems like there are going to be some missions. I feel like this group is trying to accomplish some stuff. So I think maybe she's doing some missions for them. The stuff that they don't want to get their hands dirty, she's willing to get her hands dirty, because she has that mindset of like, I have nothing to lose right now. So
I'm curious about the payoff of Joel lying to her, if that's going to come back and bite them in the bite him in the ass.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I think maybe she did find out. Maybe that's why she's bitter right now. We don't really know. Also, too, we have to realize that she still is the source of curing people.
Yep.
Who knows and do not know that? Is she keeping that to herself? Maybe that's the organization maybe that's who she's going after. Maybe she's going after the organization that was trying to take her.
Those of you who have not played The Last of Us, the virus, the cordyceps is very fast acting. Ellie was bit 2 weeks prior to the start of the game and did not turn. Tess, she's been with for an hour or two, was bit, and it was far more advanced in the infection. I mean, you could definitely tell. And then you look at Ellie's bite, and that was kind of the reason of Tess is like having faith in her. Was like, this was 2 weeks ago. This is me just an hour ago. This is real. She really is immune.
Right. And also, too, for people that don't play the game, when you're infected, you end up having this fungus-looking face.
Yes.
Yeah, and all you do is make little noises, and they can hear noise very strong. So when you go past them, it's basically
after
walking.
The second stage,
yeah, walking is safer than running. It's basically, that's the thing. They just hear noise really well. So that's like basically what it is. You turn to a funky face, but your sense of hearing is up so high. And the fact she's immune to that, that's what makes it remarkable. But I think, maybe it's obvious, but it could be, I think she might be trying to go after the people that were, one, kill Joel, and two, also trying to like take her out so they can use her for that. Maybe that's who she might be going after. Because I don't think it's going to be the cannibal group. I don't think it's them.
No,
I don't think it's them.
They wrecked that place.
Yeah, I don't think it's
really
them.
bad.
Yeah, and I think I don't think David's coming back. I think.
Oh, you don't come back from that.
Yeah. I don't.
That bludgeoning.
Yeah, I think it'll be over. I think it'll be over the top. Like, okay, David, I don't know how you survived this. Why are you here anyways?
Fun trivia note: David is voiced by Nolan North. He does Nathan Drake, and he really wanted to do The Last of Us.
By the way, Nolan North like a lot of video games too.
Yep.
Yeah, him and Troy Baker are probably the most well-known voices. They're like the Samuel Jackson and the Morgan Freeman of gaming.
Yes.
And so, but Those are the future of our characters. One is already going to end. One still got a future to go. But we would love to hear your opinions. And what do you think? What do you think of these two characters? What's your opinion? You think they're one of the best couples in gaming? What we would love to hear your thing. So all you have to do is email us at the ingameoffice@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter. We're also on Facebook. So definitely hit us on there. But even more news, you can always listen to all our shows on Podbean, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or iTunes, whatever, and Spotify now. We are now on Spotify, and that's awesome because, that's even more places for you guys to open your ears to. And so get ready for more of that kind of stuff. But also, too, look, if you love this episode, then you're going to love the past episodes that are out there. You got Sonic and Mario, you got Zelda and Princess Peach, you got Dante and Bayonetta, you got Sam Fisher and Snake, you got Dr. Robotnik and Bowser. There is so much. Tyrant and Pyramid Head? How did that work out? You definitely got to listen to those episodes. And the best part about it is you can start wherever you want. You don't have to know any other previous stuff. Just pick an episode and just have fun with it. And and this show's almost coming to an end. We have 2 more to go, and we're excited. We're excited to talk about those 2 characters very, very, very soon. We're doing research, and it's overall, this has been a great series. Overall, it's been a fantastic voyage. It's sad for it to end, but sometimes it's good to have a short package instead of something too drawn out. You know what I mean? That's why other shows just get canceled very easily. But we can't wait for y'all to hear our next picks. So we will catch you on the next episode. See ya.